So, Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. In the realm of email marketing, conventional wisdom often dictates a set of rigid rules. But what if breaking some rules could lead to unprecedented success? My guest shares business case narratives that may surprise you. Sometimes, just sometimes, a rule breaking mindset can have remarkable results. Join us as we consider sustainable marketing strategies, email over social, omni-channel marketing, deliverability, and more. And now, my guest, Ryan Austin. Hello, everyone. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I am talking with a new friend, Ryan Austin, who, back to our roots, we'll be talking about email today. So, Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company and things like that?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joy.
You bet.
The call. Email is definitely a passion of mine. Just like anybody in email, kind of fell into it in 2006. So that kind of cool. It predates iPhones even. Outlook was widely used then, and was doing some websites. And the company I was working for just needed help with email, so I fell into it and fell in love. I've been doing it for a long time and still running it. Found a switchback about 3 years ago, and all we do is email marketing. Our primary industry is vacation rental, but we have a lot of oddballs as well. But it's where we come from, the vacation rental world, which also predates Airbnb. So we've been doing email even longer than that. But that's our primary focus, and love email marketing. It's a challenge and a reward at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you are in email marketing, you may think that what you do is what everyone else does until you go into another space, another niche perhaps,
Yeah.
and you realize, no, not really. I mean, content is king. You've got an email service provider. But it's a little different. The strategies are different. And even within the industry of travel, strategies get different. But it really is a different type of place. Why don't you share, if you can, share some of because you said, you've done a few different types of email marketing. Share with the audience the differences or the challenges that travel and vacation present with email marketing.
There's a couple of challenges in the vacation rental industry. One is what we call OTAs, online travel agencies, which is Airbnb. So I think one of our clients are what we call property management companies. When it comes to email marketing, Airbnb stopped giving our clients email addresses. So that's one of our biggest challenges, is getting the guest email address professionally and not trying to break rules through OTAs. Beyond that is really just kind of normal challenges, right? Data, call to actions, showing ROI, just your normal email marketing challenges. One, I think everybody can agree with too, as you're working with different agencies and different industries, the belief, everybody understands that email is high ROI, but the belief in really putting professional effort towards it, we run across as well. So a lot of people are doing just MailChimp, constant contact on their own without more consulting and professional approach. So I think that's another challenge of believing in professional email rather than I can just hire and have it someone do my SEO, my pay-per-click, and email. That's where we come in. We're fully email marketing agency.
Do you find it challenging to do ROI?
Great question. At first, just like any change, Google Analytics 4 was challenging. We have found our rhythm with it and really enjoy working in it. So ROI for our industry is really a booking. So when someone goes to a website from an email, we're going to see revenue and transactions within GA4. Now, some clients don't understand that and don't implement it. So that is the challenge of showing ROI without the e-commerce side of Google Analytics. We're able to set some goals, key events in GA4 of contact forms and traffic and all the other kind of ROI, but our industry is really looking for that tangible revenue number. So it can be a challenge.
I mean, some people can make the call to action just, oh, they made a booking, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really know what's that number look like. And that's sometimes difficult to do with companies because now you're getting into their stuff.
Yep.
And sometimes they don't want you to get into their stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you find that some companies, give you all the keys to the kingdom and some companies don't? Is
It
it
is.
different in your industry?
Most are really open. I think it's just the nature of the vacation rental industry of a trust factor. So yeah, most of our clients do just kind of open up everything to us. We've signed a handful of NDAs over the years, but it's pretty rare. Um, I think the other part is, presenting yourself as professional brings a lot of trust, right? So I think that's another kind of level of being in this industry for so long. There is that recognition and trust factor. It's another kind of component too. They want to see the ROI, so to be able to do that, they do have to open up. Our goal is to work with them, not do the work for them. So I was asked, what's our best client? It's the engaged client. The ones that are asking the hard questions, getting on the call and really working through it. The ones that care about email. But it's important to even show just a contact form ROI. So we try to show all levels of it.
Yeah. Working with a client, the whole concept is different than working, for a client, right?
Yeah.
And, in many cases, or in the worst case, it's just like, oh, what is everyone else doing? Let's do that.
Yep.
And that conversation is like the conversation from hell for the email marketing. Oh, at least it is for me. When that conversation comes up, I'm like, can we talk about your business for a sec? Wouldn't that be nice? So, that you're in this little community, and that you're networking within this little community. What's that like? I mean, finding business for this community. Do you, uh, how vibrant, how sustainable is an agency that just does, for the most part, just does travel or booking or, vacation?
I think it's a pretty tight, small, like you said, industry. A lot of it is word of mouth for us. When we show that we work professionally, kind of best emails, best in class, best results, it kind of shows and people just want to follow the best. So really, our industry is connections and it's about building relationships. One of our good clients, Tom Goodwin, had mentioned we're all in the relationship building industry, whether it's email marketing, vacation rental, or just from guest to host to owner to marketing. So it's really about building that relationship, and it goes a long way. The other way we do it is just show up, meaning we participate in webinars and conferences. I'm part of a collective that we just did a conference here in Steamboat that was really small, but it's to support that industry in a destination most people wouldn't think about. So it's really about building relationships and holding connections and being professional.
Have you played around with the airline industry? Does that ever happen? Because that's a totally different. You'd think, oh, well, it's vertical. Yeah, but it's not.
We use airline as a marketing tool, not working with them directly, but to promote travel. Yeah, absolutely. So clients in Hawaii will do targeted geo-targeting marketing for people in Washington or California and give up airline discounts and whatnot. So it's a tool of ours. Absolutely.
Do what what was the most challenging project over the years in the industry? Client comes to you and says, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Um, Certainly two challenges in this kind of, you had to be in the industry for a while of email marketing. Mobile media queries, the email marketing adopting that and adopting a rule and a set of rules for that. It took, I want to say 2 years even just to even say this is a thing. We adopted kind of the mobile mentality early on. But I want to say just the industry, that was a challenge itself. Social media was also a fun challenge, especially Facebook coming into the email industry saying email's dead, social's winning. So for us, we can easily promote email as being the highest ROI, lowest cost, right? Versus other traditional paid search. Other challenges, and they're the fun ones that we truly enjoy, is just rendering, from dark mode to background images to website fonts or online fonts. It's the rendering side of things, and using Litmus for many years, we're using email and Acid. It's the part that having a client on a brand new, just downloaded Outlook saying my email doesn't look right. So I think that's one of our bigger challenges.
I would think that most of your clients wouldn't be Outlook, but
So correct. So our clients are B2B. Their clients that we're doing the marketing for is B2C. So when we work with bigger companies, they're on networks and whatever, they're on Outlook. But the guests or the potential guests, they're mainly 50, 70% mobile devices, and then certainly Gmail and Yahoo are the highest for our bigger. So we're sending to a list of 50,000 to 150,000, and mobile is king there.
it's funny because that you mentioned that your client is B2B and that their clients are commerce.
Yeah.
So that means when you send them a test, they're looking at it in Outlook and it's like, it's broken. We're getting all these strange lines in it. Images are like blowing up. What's going on? And, you have to explain to them, well, no one else is going to have this problem unless they're in Outlook.
Yeah.
We're only going to, these are Outlook issues. I mean, there are other issues that we have to deal with, but this is Outlook. Well, let's do a media query. Oh my goodness.
Is the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, Outlook and the infamous media queries.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a fan of doing VML and all that? Doing that for Outlook, because in many instances, I tell clients the least amount of hacking,
Mm-hmm.
the better. So if we can work on a simple design that gets everything across as simply as possible, it's a lot better than hacking it to death.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, well, anyway, what do you think about it?
It's a fun thing. It's not a necessary thing. Being so we build everything in code, but we hand our clients editable templates. So we're never in like true build templates. So internally as an agency, we test a lot of it, and then the clients that kind of give us the freedom to do more, production, so we're not restricted to budget. Those are the ones that we have fun with. And then as a team, as an agency, we pass along, what we've learned and share it. And then once it becomes a kind of a quote unquote standard for us, it's easy to implement on other clients. So I think, we like it. I think there's a use for it in multiple cases. You just, to your point, no hacking. It's got to be proven. It's got to be shown. It's our reputation of being best in class on the line. So it's important to us. We got to show it.
Are you full? When you say full agency, also design?
Yeah, we offer design, content creation, and our expertise is email. But as needed, we design it. So a lot of the attraction to us is designing around a professionally built website. So it's not just a template off the shelf. We truly try to mimic their brand guidelines, their designs, their website. And as websites changing, we're going through that right now with a client. We rebrand their templates and everything we do. So when we get a client onboarded, we're full on automations and a lot of things in the background you just wouldn't think about when a brand changes.
The argument, images, full images versus images and text. All right, there you go.
Yeah, we promote a balance. We really want that organic in there, along with some fun images. So don't be shy. A lot of our clients use Canva now. We're Photoshop, Adobe, but have fun with it. Absolutely. Just know that it can't be just one big image.
Mm-hmm. So. There's obviously in your industry, there's a lot of eye candy.
Yeah,
a lot of eye candy. Mm-hmm. So images are important, but what often happens is you start going down the rabbit hole of, but I like this font, and this is the font for my website, and oh, I'm sorry, that font isn't available, and we're going to have to use Arial. Oh, I hate Arial. And you have these somewhat absurd conversations with people. Well, how about Roboto? What, I don't like Roboto. Our font is, whatever it is. Yeah. And it ends up images, right? And it's how do you say no to a client without flipping them out?
Visual. Show them mainly what it's going to look like on different devices if we use an image as a headline. Show them what it looks like when it doesn't load in Outlook. If you got a headline on an image that goes small on a mobile, a visual will show that. And I think that's a big one for clients, is actually seeing their idea in real action. We have a client that loves to build the entire email in PowerPoint and then expect it to come out and be what it is. Or there's another client literally built the whole email in Canva, where it's more for print, right? So we still try to hold true to our best practice. And we'll try to do a balance of giving the client what they want, as long as they kind of compromise a couple other things.
Yeah, it's finding that compromise. It really is. It's you just want to scream no, 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 and start beating on the desk, but you have to find that compromise.
Yep.
Find that compromise. Yes. And there are those customers that are just going to push you, and when those types of things happen, those are generally customers that are not your customers, and you have to realize that no matter what.
Sure. Yeah, not everybody's a good fit for us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, the ones that are the ones that engage. We highly recommend at least a once a month call with us, whether it's 15 minutes or an hour, and just talk it through. I think a big thing is, hey, I saw this really great email. I want that. And then we dissect it and say, hey, this is what it really is. A client, I had to explain to a client, she's like, well, my fun script is going to get me more opens. Just had to explain, once it's open, it's open. It's not what's inside the email, so your fun script's not going to get it open. But it's those conversations where it's trying to get some clarity around clients of what great idea they saw is or isn't a good idea.
Do you guys have a particular ESP that you use, or are you all over the place?
We've been with Campaign Monitor. It's our ESP for about 10 to 12 years now. So that's what we know and really kind of dedicate ourselves to. Occasionally we work outside of it, but it's just what the whole team is professional on.
Yeah.
There's some in the industry that we use, but mainly it's Campaign Monitor.
Yeah. It's sometimes, I came from an agency, and I've worked with agencies that have white labeled.
Yep.
And I've worked with agencies that have white labeled, but also managed whatever the client wanted. And it is a challenge to be all over the place on ESPs. That's why I consider myself somewhat of a unicorn, because I'm like, okay, just, what ESP we're going to now. And I mean, there are some ESPs that really do well in some markets, right? I mean, it's hard to just say that without understanding. The tools that the ESP has just align themselves with strategies, not necessarily markets, but it ends up in markets. So it's a strategy, like, oh, this ESP can't do that, but this ESP can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we occasionally lose sales, but it's pretty rare. You won't work in our marketing cloud or HubSpot. But again, it's pretty rare for us to lose an account based on us solely working in Campaign Monitor. I think we're just kind of fortunate where a lot of them are coming from a do-it-yourself style environment where they're looking for us to run their email. The nice thing about what Campaign Monitor offers is a customized, editable template. So again, it's not off the shelf; it's truly customized to that client. Over the years, you name it, probably 15 plus different ESPs. I really found that as an agency, helping each other, like someone goes on vacation, someone doesn't have to know this ESP versus the other one. So it's the nature of just being a small agency as well, making sure we can still provide the best email. The hard part of agency is billable time, right? So having an employee or someone try to get up to speed on an ESP they never worked in doubles or even triples that production time. So it's a challenge there as well.
Yeah, those are some of the issues with business models and agencies. It's like, what are we going to do? What are we not going to do? Or what do we don't want to do? Those types of things. And sometimes they make or break an agency.
Sure.
One of the hardest thing in an agency is, okay, we've been around for 1 year, we've been around for 2 years. Can we make it to 5 years?
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a risk, but if you just focus on what you're good at, it's
right
to pick up momentum.
Right. In every case and every model, one of my biggest things when people are talking to me about their business is the word sustainable. Like, you have to create something that's sustainable. If you're going to do social, how sustainable is that? Are you going to be saying the same exact things in 5 years or 3 months? Or because at some point in time, your audience is going to be like, okay, you said that to me 50 times. I get it. And then some other people will say, no, as a brand, you have to remind people. And I'm like, yes and no. Like, you need to be able to pivot, you need to be able to recreate, but you can't just live and breathe on one hill. You've got to find another hill. A similar hill.
You got it. Sustainable is a great kind of topic. Even going through economical difficulties over the last 15, 20 years, email has survived, at least in my opinion. A lot of clients that weren't putting, marketing dollars to anything new, email is still the best way to communicate and get in front of a mass trusted audience. So we actually saw, with the real estate and with COVID, email actually picked up speed where other channels kind of died off a little. Email's sustainable. It's definitely not dead.
That's one thing about social. It's not yours. The algorithm is not yours. And I mean, if the list isn't yours, you have an issue. But assuming the list is yours, you begin to see patterns and you can manage them, and you don't wake up one morning and the algorithm has changed and now no one opens. That it's not that, but that is what happens on social.
Sure. When Apple came out, what was that, 21, where they started opening emails for everybody, that was a big kind of blow to our, A/B testing, little things. So there are always going to be some challenges and changes, but I think, again, the most personal touch is an email. A lot of our clients are trying to adopt texting or SMS, and I just feel, that it's a great quick, but there's so much lag in email, meaning the people at least for our industry, we'll see direct conversions even 8 to 10 months after an email is sent. So people hold their emails, especially vacation type emails. Interesting. It's an interesting marketing channel. I enjoy email marketing. Seeing of it, it is really rewarding sometimes.
It's you can find your own trends, build on your own trends. You can test stuff out, but social is very difficult. I find it very difficult. And the one thing you mentioned about Apple and opens,
Mm-hmm.
Google did the same thing when they, cached everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the open metric was never really a metric.
Right.
They opened it and then they deleted it. Great. So, we got a great open rate. It's no, you don't. Open, delete. Okay, that's not good.
Yeah, when we talk reporting, one of the biggest things is I go straight to Google Analytics. How do we increase our open rate and our click rate? Well, you do. There's a lot of factors into that, but it's really once we do the goal of email is get them on your website or get them to pick up the phone or fill out a contact form. So it's not why isn't email working? It's a full picture. Once they get to your website, is the sales funnel working there as well? With social, we find it as anything. Just another tool that we need to be working together with. A lot of agencies we work with take our email list and do targeted marketing with Facebook. And if you're starting to connect the dots from email to paid to landing pages and SEO, they should all be working together.
Right. It is always interesting to have that moment with a brand when you've been there for a few months and you've got some data and you're able to say, hey, wait a minute, let's connect the dots here, because there are things happening with this audience that you didn't realize was happening. We could see it with the data. Yeah. And that's always a strategy that it's, I call it 3D chess. It's a strategy that most people can't grasp. In other words, they say, we've got a CTA, the CTA is book. Right? That's it. And you're like, yeah, but we don't know their interests. So a secondary CTA is to find out where they're going. What do they want to do? So that we can do some other types of mailing, not just book. Sound like a chicken. It's not just book. It's like, these people are always going to Pennsylvania in your group. Is there anything going on in Pennsylvania? What can we do for them? Is there like an event? Yeah, guess what? There's something in, Philadelphia, whatever it is. The thing is, you've got to think like that, sort of completely out of the box, where they would be like, no, we just want to do our seasonal emails where everybody copacetic, everybody's happy. But there are those things that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Like, oh, let's do a happy birthday email. Well, how about not just, looking at that type, but looking at other types of specific things that are happening in your list.
Yep.
That we may further test to get more information and then be able to make specialized emails, which may or may not work, but we don't know until we get there.
Absolutely. We just came from a little industry conference talking about shoulder season. That means like the dead season for our clients. And, you're trying to get more business during these shoulder seasons is what we call them. So what we were promoting was the anticipation of the email that you're driving for your guest. Again, kind of back to a really good client of ours, he always said he's in the business of story selling. So giving the industry expert the content that people are waiting for, anticipating, the local secrets, the things that are going to drive someone to Pennsylvania that they didn't know, your local bakery that they didn't know about. So sure, I got a book now button, but I want someone to anticipate my email. I want them to get excited saying, hey, I always learn something. So it's kind of being that leader or that we call it destination expert, and giving that kind of touch of relationship building through email.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can drive that into anticipation, obviously it's going to drive open rates and click rates. So if I'm only going to the Outer Banks once a year, I still like to get it to learn more about the community and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it. I think I once heard someone say that they signed up for a list. I don't know if it was it was probably airlines, and they went to Japan, and for months after that, everything was about Japan.
Yep.
And it's like, I went there once, dude. Like, I'm not going back again, or I am, but not. It's not like suddenly I'm going to Japan every 6 months.
So I call that data assumption.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't always assume that your data is right or is relevant anymore. Yeah, we're strange enough. We're getting into the world of AI with email. With our industry of vacation rental, we work with a company called Adaptive, and they take the data and they give predictable data back based on data and actions and clicks on the website and all that, and then they give us actual data that changes almost every day that we can send recommended rentals. So we have a little section in our emails that really are based on their actions, and it's not based on their last reservation or vacation. It's based on how their world is changing online and how this AI is watching it. We've been about a year in on it. It's been really fascinating to watch ROI out of it, and how people can start to gravitate. And it's the language you use, right? So additional recommended rentals for you. And what it is they're starting to see what they've been clicking on. So instead of a 12-bedroom, they've been clicking on a 3-bedroom. And the AI company we're working with starts to give us that data. It's been a lot of fun, new. A lot of clients are hesitant to try it, but we're showing case studies of it working. Pretty cool.
That there will be people that will first be concerned about privacy, and then with AI they're concerned about every aspect of AI. It's going to take my job. It's going to take over the world. It's going to kill me. It's going to do all these things. And AI is going to do all those things.
Great.
Kill me? I don't know. I'll probably die before it kills me. But that's just my life. I'm not sure about yours.
No.
But I'm not so afraid of using AI tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people need to step away from fear, because there's a lot of things that it can do. Yes, it's going to replace. Yes, it's going to replace some jobs. Yes, yes, but you still need people to drive it.
Absolutely.
The car is not going to take over. The self-driving car is not going to take over my life. It's going to get rid of the driver. Right? But it's not gonna, it's not gonna know how to know what to do food shopping. It can't go food shopping. It can drive me to the market, but it can't do my food shopping. And so AI is sort of like that. It can't create a campaign all by itself. You need to say, or you shouldn't let it create a campaign all by itself. You need to have that conversation with it.
Yep.
And then you need to make a judgment call by saying it's totally off. Or,
yep.
It might not be off. Let's test this out and see what happens.
We did a lot of testing in the beginning, having some doubts on it, but it took almost more manpower than it would have without it. We needed to know how to implement it, how to test it, how to use it, if it was working. It's complicated. It's not anything. A colleague, he's an older gentleman, he referred to AI, was referring to it like a calculator. When it first came out, everybody was like against it. This is going to change everything. Everybody's going to go dumb. But now it's just a tool that we all use. I couldn't imagine life without one. So AI's, it's been a lot of fun to be working with it, especially in the predictive data.
Yes.
I think it's one of the neatest things I've seen in the last couple of years.
I mean, I've had coding conversations with it, and it's been very helpful because every developer has been presented with a project where we need you to be able to display X, Y, and Z, and code it in and do this and do that. And you're like, okay, it sounds like I know it can be done, but I'm not exactly sure. And you Google it, and it takes you 3 hours to finally find that exchange that explains how they did it, whereby you can start playing with it, and now you've got the code.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meanwhile, 3 hours have gone by. AI, you can have the same conversation, and it might come back, bam, the first time.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's not a guarantee. Absolutely. A handful of our clients like honey, like fun headlines and subject lines, and I'm not honey. One of our employees is she's great at it, but I'm not. So she's been on vacation, and I've had to pick it up, and I've been using it to give me 10 honey headlines or subject lines, and it's fun to see what it pumps out, but it's not copy and paste style either. You got to be creative with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you come back and say no, that's not what it will say. Oh, I'm sorry, and then it will go in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's very apologetic, very apologetic.
It's funny, it's kind of creepy, but again, it's like a calculator. It's a tool we've been using. I'm
Yes.
excited to see it grow and grow up. And being some of the early adopters with the data side of it, it's been a lot of fun. But just anything, you gotta test it. You can't just say this is gonna work. We're such nerds. We track everything we do. So we were tracking our AI clicks versus our normal clicks, and seeing if that click drove ROI versus all the other ones. So we are tracking down to the actual, link that it's being added. And it's a soft impact, but it's there. It's worth our clients putting it in their emails.
It's worth, like you said in the beginning, it's somewhat of more manpower, because
It really did.
you've got to have the person engage, communicating with AI in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there is a way. It's got a template. If you just say, give me keywords, it may not give you keywords in a comma delimited fashion. So now you've got, list, and you're like, no, I don't want a list. And then the next time you go in there, it gives you the list again. You've got to remember you're talking to a machine. It's not necessarily going to remember what you asked for 3 weeks ago. So sometimes it pays to have a paid subscription.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
That way, you're given more options, and you can create projects and templates, and it really is worth the effort. I've had entire conversations with AI late at night.
Yeah, it's awkward. I have to.
Right? It's just I have presented problems to it, and it has attempted to solve them,
Mm-hmm.
personal problems. Tempted to solve them, and sometimes it's good advice, and sometimes it's like, no, I've tried that. No, that's not good.
Absolutely.
Doesn't work in the human world. Thank you very much. And if you come back and you tell it that doesn't work in the human world, you're teaching it, for better or for worse. So all those mean people out there who are teaching AI mean things, yeah, that's the scary part of AI. We're teaching it.
Mm-hmm. No, I've enjoyed it. Again, it's a tool for me, and I'll continue to use it. But just like any professional, you got to use it in a way that's going to benefit you. Absolutely. Great.
And what about have you had any severe deliverability problems with some clients?
Sure, it's usually not due to us, and usually not due to the client. So we got a client back in November with a list of about 70,000, and they came in, and now with Apple opening everything, open rates are skewed. So we're now seeing 35 to 55 up to 75. So this client came in with a 13% open rate, and my jaw dropped on that list size. I couldn't believe it. so we instantly questioned the quality of the list as we dug through. 90 to even 80% of the list had done business with them, and I would say half of that in the last 2 years. So we found that the list was qualified. One of my employees, she started digging in on where it was coming from. She had found that it was Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, and AOL were having the biggest impact on their deliverability and their biggest impact on open rates, negative impacts. So as she started to dig through even more, she actually found it was a past reputation from another agency that they built with Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, and Hotmail that ruined their reputation with these providers. So it's been about a 4-month kind of reputation build back, if you would.
Did you have to create another unique domain?
We did. And so what happens in our industry is we have a booking engine or a buy now, right? So they go in there and then they get an email. So it's important when I spend, $15,000 on a vacation and I get a confirmation email, that's an important email. And then they add that email address to their address book. So they weren't using that. So we said, well, let's definitely try that. And then it turns out we tried another one. And it's not them. It's something with that reputation that Gmail can hold on to, even if they're swapping domains, or and we're doing everything right: DKIM, DMARC, SPFs, even a CNAME record, and that had no additional impact. Where we're starting to see the impact is providing Gmail with an authority that we're sending them of opens. So the more Gmail opens, and then we add back more Gmails that don't open, we're starting to see those finally start to get open. So it's a reputation build back, and it's something we've done before, but not this intense. It's our biggest lowest deliverability that we've ever seen.
Yeah, which is why sometimes a strategy to create campaigns and only send it to openers every once in a while, not all the time, but only every once in a while, to lift so that it says, oh, everyone's engaged here. You do it if you do it once a week, it can help you out. But some people might say you're throwing away content. Well, again, you need to strategize. These are that's the 3D chess game that you need to play. It's like, we have a specific problem. How do we solve this problem? Do we have content? Don't we have content? What are we going to do? Who's in the list? Who's all these things? And because it's such an issue, in many cases, customers will say, forget it. It's too much. I don't have time for this. Just keep sending. And it's sad when that happens.
It is. Those aren't clients we don't enjoy working with, where they're just like, I don't care what you send, just build it and send it. We want to work with them. You nailed it. The other challenge is not only content in email, but content on their website. If they're not taking that seriously, they're not taking email seriously. And it's hard to have an email linked to nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the same old.
Yeah, no.
It's like, you're not, that's not an experience for your customer.
Yeah, I think a lot of our clients, there's multiple influences on content. I think with ours, there's a challenge of it's called revenue managers, right? So they're working on the revenue side of things, saying, hey, we're falling short in these spots of the business, promote that. And it's just this over and over promoting what needs help, and you start to feel desperate of only showing what needs attention. Showing some of your best, even if it's already gone, is still part of the game. You got to have a variety of content. Again,
The customers will pay attention to the subject line and drive you nuts about the subject line. It's like, how about the landing page? Oh, no, it's all right. The landing page is okay, but we really need better engaging subject lines. And you're like, you're not getting it, dude. It's very difficult. I I'm not a subject line person, although I'm not saying just throw garbage at people. I'm saying it's not just a subject line, it's your brand name. People, when they get that email from you, they
Absolutely.
see your name. I mean, if you're going to be, again, I'll just say, what's new in Japan? Well, I'm not going to Japan, so I'm not opening that up. You got to be careful.
Absolutely. It's loyalty, or again, brand anticipation. One of our clients' subject line has not changed. I know this sounds crazy. Has not changed in 3 years. It has always been from the mountaintop. And what's going on there is all you do is see from the mountaintop. You know what it is. There's no sales. There's no nothing. You know that this is the brand that I like to engage with. I'm going to open that regardless if they're doing A/B tests on the subject line.
But that's
What?
out of the box thinking, you see? They just didn't say, oh, we don't want to change the subject line because it's just too much for us to do. Just keep sending it. Because my argument would be, well, everything's going to get locked together. So the old email will end up with the new email with, and maybe they won't be able to find it. And they may come back and say, let's just test it because that means that they'll find the old email and the new email and everything like that. And that's what we want. And you're like, oh, okay. That's what, all right, let's check that out.
Yeah, that's certainly one of our arguments in the beginning of Gmail blocking them all together. Yeah. Where he twisted was preview text. So subject line stayed the same, but his preview text told the story. So
Okay.
that does change every email. But his subject line is recognizable, and it's the one that people will gravitate to. We've seen a slight increase, nothing crazy, but staying consistent with it. The other thing he does every day of the week, every same time and same day. So he's also creating this like habitual action of his subscribers, knowing on this day at this time I'm getting that email. So I've even heard in the industry that people say, "Hey, I love getting that email every Sunday." So it's kind of you said it, it's a kind of thinking outside of the norm, and what people would actually be like, that's insane, actually started working really well for us.
Right. It's sometimes the email marketer will say, well, that's not best practices.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to think about it. And it has happened to me more than once where something isn't a best practice, and I've been thinking about it, going, let's just go with it. Let's just right.
We're big on dynamic content, especially in our industry when we're doing promotions. So if we know they have a vacation already, don't show a promotion. But I had a client challenge me about, I'd almost even say 10 years ago, and he won, and he's never gone back. So his challenge was, well, we don't offer promotions. I don't want to ever use dynamic content. I want the same message going to everybody. The way he ended up winning me over with it is he's in the Outer Banks, and a lot of his emails can get forwarded to friends, to family. It could be saved for another vacation. Uh, we did start to do some dynamic content just recently based on, again, on data, but never hiding something. It's more changing the data. But we're big on dynamic content, giving the right content mainly on promotions. So just excluding an entire part of your list is something we don't try to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the concept of promotions is yet another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's constantly promoting something other than looking at it as content, and the concept of promotions and promoting something as opposed to telling about it, a story about it, a narrative about it, um, and the concept of selling it as opposed to sharing it. There's a different thought process there, and
Yep.
everything being a promotion can get messy, especially if there's a percentage there, because now you've got your customers trained to wait for the percentage.
You do. So we had a client in Hawaii just recently that had never done them, and we tried a flash sale. It was the highest ROI they've seen in years, from any channel, not just email, and it was because they've never done it before. So it's the oversaturated. We're always sending a 10% special. It's what it is. It just gets old. And then it makes you wonder, why is it always discounted? And if I don't get it, then I'm going to wait for it. But if it's used again as a tool and scarcity, it's very powerful. We're big fans of countdown timers and really kind of, given a not necessarily a flash sale, but a flash sale style to it. Um, but use it again as needed and make it so rare that they're going to book without it regardless.
Yeah, I guess there's opportunity versus fear. And I'd like to think of it as opportunity
Correct.
and not fear of missing out, because I hate fear of missing out. I don't like that. I don't like that way of thinking.
Yeah.
Because what you're basically saying is that you can make people buy stuff just because they're afraid that if they don't keep up, they're going to miss out. And those are not going to be happy customers.
Use it for your lower inventory is kind of what we say. So if you're having something struggle, use it for that. And your highest inventory, the ones that's not going to struggle, or you're going to be able to sell it, or what we call book it without any problem. Don't discount it, but really kind of give the promotion as it's needed, not always. Yeah, it's a whole big discussion on promo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. So, how can people find your company? Find find you on the web. Switchback.
You got it. Switchback email. We strangely want to be small, and work for some of the best. So we don't do a ton of marketing. You won't find us on social. SEO is really low. No paid ads. But yeah, just Switchback email and you'll find our website. We are always open to talk, though.
Mm-hmm.
Love this industry. Love helping others. I think that's one of our biggest rewards. This is what we do. So just even a 30-minute conversation. Love talking shop. So if you ever want to reach out and talk email marketing, that's what we do.
Is it switchbackemail.com or switchback email?
Some company from the 90s has switchback.com. So we're Switchback email because that's all we do. So,
great.
Yeah.
It's been great talking with you, Ryan.
So, yeah, you too. Really appreciate this opportunity and great talk.
You bet. And that's a wrap, boys and girls and everyone in between. Thanks so much.
Thank you.